Claude Code is an amazing tool, something that I use every single day, but it unintentionally ate all of my storage. And I'm here today to talk to you about a solution that I developed for this and that I will share with you all, as it's still an outstanding bug within the Claude Code community. So this video is for a broader audience other than the data analyst folks I normally talk to. It's for everyone who utilizes Claude Code, and hopefully you don't run into this issue. But in case you do, this video is here for you to actually look at and learn how to resolve very quickly. So basically, the other day I was working in Claude Code and I was sending it commands, and it either was running into an error when it was trying to give me a response, or it would take an extremely long time in giving me a response. And after some investigation, I was looking at my storage in Mac and came across this where I had 458 gigs of my 494 gigabytes available on my less than a year old laptop already used. And I was like, what the heck is going on? And as you can see here, the significant amount was utilized inside this documents area. And so when I went into Mac and actually opened up the document storage, I didn't see anything that matched that large amount of gigabyte storage that was being utilized and displayed within here, where this is 354. And then when I dug into the large files within my documents, the largest one I saw for the folder was only 32 gigabytes, and the rest were either, there were 3 above 1 gigabyte, and the rest were a gigabyte or below. And so this led me to wonder, what the heck is going on here? After going through multiple layers of storage, deleting some things I shouldn't have deleted, even downloading a relatively sketchy app from the internet that said it would give me one free round of cleaning my storage on Mac, I was able to get Claude Code at least running successfully again, but I hadn't solved this 351 gigabyte problem on my laptop. And eventually I was like, hey, why don't I just ask Claude Code to do this and find the issue within my computer for where all of this storage is being eaten up? Now, eventually, that conversation with Claude Code led me to this point where it successfully identified the culprit as the Claude Code debug logs. And it gave me this plan for how it can create a repository with a command and a hook to clean it up and go through all these phases for me to eventually make a video about this. And so what I'm going to do is show you exactly how this works, because currently within the Claude Code community, and I actually looked this up on Wrapup's GitHub page, there is still this bug, which is exactly the bug I ran into, where there's this infinite logging loop in debug files that causes a massive amount of disk usage. And this is unfortunately what happened to me, and hopefully this video is not relevant for you, but if you're probably at this point already, then it is relevant for you. And so that way we can solve this together, and you can download the commands and the hook from this repository below in the link in the description, and you can have it implemented on your own computer so you'll never run into this problem again. To diagnose the problem, how does Claude Code actually cause this? Well, it can enter this infinite recursive logging loop. Shout out to Ethan J. Stark here for reporting this issue, where it essentially infinitely creates data, not infinitely, but almost to that point, for specific sessions of Claude Code that you may have been running, and it can eat up your disk spacage. And where that exists and why it's not immediately available in this storage area is that it exists underneath the .claude in your home directory if you're using a Mac, or if you're using a window where this file exists in that computer, under the debug folder. And you can see there are all these text files for debugging logs that are created by Claude Code as you're running different commands, interacting with it in different sessions. And we can see here that I'm actually running up again on some storage issue with this applications, which we'll investigate that in a sec. But basically, that is the issue. And so what I've done is I've designed a command and a hook to help you clean this up either on demand or every time you end a session. So let's start first with the command. With the cleanup-debug-logs command, what it does is that it is a command that you can run without any specific argument entering it, or you can enter an argument for the size threshold. So the smallest size debugging log that you want to eliminate. And you can eliminate these debugging logs without any performance impact to Claude Code. That is very critical to note, because I don't want you to be worried about if I eliminate these debug logs, will it affect Claude Code performance? It will not. It will just free up the storage on your machine so you can begin utilizing it again without running into these issues. And so it goes into the .claude debug folder, takes the argument for your threshold, and then what it does is it checks the current size, looks at the files that match your criteria for your smallest allowable file to be deleted for the log, and then reports a finding to user, asks for confirmation before deleting, so it won't delete it without getting your explicit consent, and then execute the changes too. And so it has some context, and then it also talks about this SessionEnd hook as well. The default size, if you do not enter an argument, is 1 gigabyte. All right, I opened up a new session of Claude Code here. I have the cleanup debug logs 10M. We have my debug logs opened up here, which we can see the large files are 70 megabytes, 21 megabytes, 13.1, and then it goes down from there too. So those are clearly the biggest ones. And so what we should see after I run this command is that those 3 files up top are deleted, given that my threshold is 10 megabytes here. And so we will pause and let this go, and we'll come back once it checks in with us to confirm the final command. Okay, 5 seconds later, it came back, and there are the 3 debug log files that I pointed out earlier. So we will click yes, delete them, and now Claude Code will delete them. And it cleaned up those 3 files. So if we go back, we would no longer see those logging files there. And that is it for the command. Now, using the / command is great, but you also have to remember to run it occasionally. And I don't know about you, but I'm a lazy developer, so I like to have things automatically run for me. And that's why I would suggest implementing this hook in your .claude folder too, underneath the hooks, and changing your settings to run it upon session end. So basically what this is, it's a simple bash script that automates the cleanup of these debug files. And what it does by default is it looks for files that are 1 gigabyte or over, and then goes into this debug directory, which is the .claude/debug that we showed earlier, and then removes any files that are above that range. And you can also go into this, change it to 1M, 1 megabyte, or whatever else you might like to be. I just keep it at 1 gigabyte by default. And as far as how you change it in your settings, this is in my .claude settings JSON, so this is not a part of this repository, but you have your session end, and then it has the hooks where it's referencing that from within your .claude/hooks, and it has that script there. And you can see it here in my directory, which to define hooks as well is what they are is they're a script that runs automatically based on certain triggers within your Claude Code settings. And so this hook specifically runs at the session end. So every time you end a session of Claude Code, this will run cleaning up your debug logs. That way, you never have to worry about this problem. Hooks are really valuable tools in case this is your first exposure to them. One last thing before signing off for this video here. Earlier on in the video, I had my storage up, and you could see I have a lot of information being eaten up by my application series, 340 gigabytes. Certainly a lot more than I'm used to seeing here. So I have another potential storage problem. Well, now that I know better, I went to Claude Code and say, hey, why do my applications have so many gigabytes utilized right now? Can you investigate? And I screenshotted an image of that storage window that had all of that information on there. And then Claude Code was like, all right, great, let me go investigate it. And then ultimately, what it found is that I have a Google Drive storage issue with local Google Drive that's downloaded that is causing it to be 246 gigabytes. And then also suggested some other things I can clean up on my machine here. And so all of this to say, if you run into storage issues on your computer, you can utilize Claude Code to help you analyze them and figure out how you can clean up the disk space on your computer. And that is a lot better than downloading some random application from the web, paying for yet another piece of software, and then just having that delete things on your computer. Claude Code is a great option and very quick for investigating issues and specifically storage issues with your own computer. Now we're at the end of the video. I want to leave you with a few next steps. Firstly, download this repo, install the hook, install the command. I personally like the hook, given that every time at the end of your session, it will automatically run, cleaning up some of these potentially problematic storage eating files that Claude could be storing in your debug folder. And that way you don't have to think about it, and it's already taken care of. And then hopefully Claude will address this issue. Again, thank you to Ethan for actually reporting it, and you'll see my comment on here saying, hey, this issue is still occurring. Please address it. And lastly, if you run into any storage issues with your computer in general, Claude Code is a great option to check it out and report to you what is going on in your computer and how you can safely clean it up. That is it for today. Please like and subscribe, and I appreciate all of you, and I will talk to you again very soon.